Hey listener, this is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels scene by scene while going on tangents, debating social etiquette, and keeping our friendships strong. Make sure to check out our Patreon. I just did a virtual book club with some patrons, and talking about the Side Changeling series with them was both hilarious and soul-affirming. Thank you so much to everybody who made the time to come chat with us. We also have videos for these episodes, bonus content, gifts, and so much more. That's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms podcast. Come join the party. This week, Erin and I are back to chat all about a hockey-loving office manager and her equally hockey-loving billionaire boss. This is part 1 of Brooklynaire by Sarina Bowen. Here we go. Erin. It's Erin and Melody. Hi.
No, it was weird.
No, I'm really excited.
I'm excited too.
We have not spoken
Rooster. You can
to
hear
each
her.
other.
We spoke. We just haven't recorded.
We haven't done this, we
Yeah.
haven't video chatted. Part of the reason I like recording is that you have to video chat with me.
Yeah, we've talked on the telephone.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here's why we've had a guest host and a re-release. Although I think it was very serendipitous.
Serendipitous.
Yeah. I'm sorry about Rooster. It literally happened the moment we started recording. She started barking her face off. I don't know what to do about it.
She's excited too. I get it, Rooster. Heaving Bosoms is back.
So, okay, the reason this happened is I had a mental breakdown on the day we were supposed to record 2 weeks ago. And then you had a mental breakdown on the day we were supposed to record last week.
Yeah.
And now we're here and okay.
We might be, hanging on by our fingernails, but bitches, we're here.
But we're at a level, we're at a mental health level where we can discuss a romance novel.
That's right.
That really is the bare minimum, and we're here to do it.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's also because you've had to be doing crazy work things on all the weekends and
Yes, which has caused the
it's part of the mental
breakdown.
Yeah.
But I was going to say it's very serendipitous is that because you got to talk to Make Out already, who are our friends.
Yeah.
And then also this Ice Planet thing
TikTok.
happened. We got requests, you assholes, to be like, please do. Oh my gosh.
Have you heard of them?
Yeah, ma'am. We have been done Ice Planet Barbarians. And so I think it's a good idea because then we posted about the fact that we had been done Ice Planet Barbarians years ago. And then,
people
in the comments were like, can't wait for the episode. And it's like, ma'am,
it's in there.
You do not have to wait.
It's so funny to me.
Listen to them.
No, and Ice Planet podcast. I feel like TikTok needs to find out about them. I've been sending them to everybody.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, TikTok. I can't believe it. Usually they're on the cutting edge of everything to the point that I can't even navigate the app.
It's all these kids. It's all these yippersnappers
out
know.
There. These whippersnappers.
Anyway.
Hey, speaking of whippersnappers.
I was about to say, this isn't what we said we were going to banter about.
Do you want to know why I am actually excited about life in the world?
That's why. Sure. Yes. Please tell me.
So we watched Raya and the Last Dragon the moment it was included without extra monies on Disney Plus. So very recently. And my daughter just went bananas over it. Like bananas. I mean, they say representation matters. But really, she fell in love with one of the characters, this badass bitch Namari, who's sort of the villain the whole time, but she's totes not. And she comes around at the end. Anyway, she's been obsessed with Namari. And Namari has this super edgy side/undercut situation happening. And for at least a week and a half, pushing 2 weeks, Valor has been asking me, begging me for a Namari haircut. She also needed a haircut anyway because it was getting so long. Like I hadn't cut it since birth. And so trying to brush the dead ends was like a constant exercise in obstinance and meltdowns. So she needed a haircut. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you have bodily autonomy. You get to control your hair. And like, you know, if it was a 2-time ask thing, I'd be like, fuck yourself. I'm not bringing out the clippers. But man, did she ask and ask and ask. So today I gave my 2.5-year-old this badass side cut. I didn't go full undercut because like, you know, it was a whole business and I am not a professional. And she's been so excited. We've only been able to refer to her as Namari. And in fact, if I omit any name whatsoever, if I just say, pick up that thing, she'll go, Namari, pick up that thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Neat.
Okay. It's so funny. Anyway, so it's so cute. And it makes me really
I've seen
happy.
pictures. It is legit cute.
Yeah. And just like her joy with it is so cute. So anyway, that's why I'm really excited about the world. Ember almost wanted a Noi haircut, and Noi is like the baby, and she basically has a pixie cut with like buns all over her head. I don't know how it works.
That's too complicated.
She is a cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Cartoons sometimes do things with hair that aren't feasible in the real world.
Right. And so anyway, he backed out at the last moment and only wanted a trim. And I was like, excellent. This makes my life so much better.
Yes. You could probably still do the buns with his hair.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to talk him into the Raya braids. She's got these 2 braids on the top of her head and the rest of her hair is down. And it's
Do you have the skill to do that?
Oh, yeah. Of course I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be an asshole. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I can braid my own hair like that. Yeah.
No, I can't.
I spent a lot of time on school buses practicing.
No, I didn't have female friends until like middle school. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yes.
Erin, did you like Book?
Yes.
I liked Book.
Yeah, I liked Book.
Yeah. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah.
Book didn't have me from chapter 1.
No.
I'll say that. Pages 1 and 2 of Book were real rough. And I was poised to really hate Book. And the first half of chapter 1 or so. And then the ending as well.
Oh yeah, the ending's a mess.
So, but the middle chunk of Book, I like.
Real good. Yeah. Real good.
Yes.
And the flashback device that the author uses, I loved.
I mostly loved.
Man, I loved it. And I can't wait to talk about it because there's a couple of things about it. But, okay, tell me. Okay, so first of all, this is Brooklynaire by Sarina Bowen. Yeah, Sarina Bowen. Sorry. I was trying to say Browen for some reason. That's not her name.
That is strange.
Yeah.
Also, in the moment that your brain shorted out, so did my Kindle. And it said, connect to a power source. But it has 91% battery. So
Kindle,
we'll see what happens here.
Figure yourself out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we've got Nate and
Rebecca.
Bex.
Uh-huh.
That's
Bex.
the one. And it opens up on Bex. Tell me everything about the first 2 pages / the first chapter.
Well, it starts with a Pride and Prejudice quote, which always makes me wary.
It makes me very nervous.
It already knocked me a little bit back on my heels with here's a Pride and Prejudice quote. And then it started out with the truth universally acknowledged, which is a double. It's double. And so then I'm kind of like, oh, God. And then she proclaims herself to be a badass, which I was like, okay.
Gonna need receipts.
Yeah.
Where's your Namari haircut, Bex?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very skeptical of anyone who doesn't have imposter syndrome. So, let's see what the deal is here. So, then the first sentence is, so keep in mind, after this, I liked Book. It's going to sound real harsh, real fast, everyone. And then it's going to get really great. But the first sentence is, I live in Brooklyn where everyone can more or less handle herself. So by virtue of where you live, you're a badass? Like that kind of, I don't like people who are like into zip codes. I don't like it. I don't like that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
That are like, oh, are you from St. Louis or are you from St. Louis? You know, like that kind of bullshit. I don't like it. I don't like people who are like police where you live. It's gatekeeping. It is. It's gatekeeping is what it is.
It's geographical
literal gatekeeping. There could be gates involved because it's true. About locations.
It's true.
Anyways, so I was like, and also just because you live in Brooklyn does not mean you can handle. Brooklyn's like pretty. Like, especially
not where she lives. It's gentrified as fuck.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I can't even with her. It's basically Park Slope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like, that's a nice place. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Next sentence.
Yeah.
And we are going sentence by sentence in this book. I drink my coffee black. And you know that I've had experience with coffee shaming in my own life.
Yeah.
And I personally drank my coffee black for a decade because I was shamed by the mayor of New Orleans. I mean, wait, somebody... I was shamed one time.
Do I have
putting
to cut
cream in my
or
coffee?
Is it not that serious?
Just keep it. What mayor was it? You never know.
Which one? Nobody knows.
Listen, and I was told no one's going to take me seriously as a prosecutor if I put so much cream and sugar in my coffee.
Well, you do have a vagina, so like you're already.
That was the implication.
I know.
And I just, listen, I drink my coffee black. Okay, Becca. All right, let's see. I work with professional athletes. She's not a professional athlete, but she is near one.
She's proximate to them.
Which is similar to being like, I live here, thus badass, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. I can do 25 push-ups in a set.
That is a set.
Yum.
That's just a set.
Listen. Okay. Okay. Then I think she's done. Then I think that's the end of her list.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Of what
Which
makes
is
her
weird
a badass.
because the 25 push-ups is a new paragraph.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. And then she tells the story of the one time she did 25 push-ups. So I was a little bit like, okay, I've seen your resume and I'm not sure badass is the right way to go here. And then she talks about how she's the office manager for this hockey team. And then she tells the story about how she walked out on the ice, right? Then we just go right into that, right?
Yeah, she's been working for this hockey team for 2 years. It's the first time she's ever even thought about going out on the ice. And so she does go out on the ice.
Just for funsies.
Yeah, just like walks on there.
In like her Chucks.
No reasons. In actual Chuck Taylors, yeah.
Yeah.
And so she goes ass over tea kettle, whacks her head real good, and now she's got a serious TBI.
Yes.
She got a TBI for just like just stepping onto the ice.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
And so we pick her up like in her apartment, like healing from her TBI because she like can't look at stuff and she can't like read or like she can't look at screens and all this. And then we start laying into the sister and the boyfriend.
Oh boy.
Which I was like, okay, but like, okay, so what has happened is her sister, who is heavily implied to be a slut and like
slutty
dumb,
McSlut whore,
a dumb slut, has gotten herself knocked up and like needs somewhere to live and moved in with her. And then how dare he, the boyfriend, comes and wants to live with his child and the mother of his child in her apartment.
So wait, the thing that I have a hard time with this is that Becca dropped out of college. We find out this a little bit later, but like we'll just say it.
Mm-hmm.
She dropped out of college because her dad died a few years ago. And so she was like, I need to, help the family with finances or whatever. Mm-hmm. So then she was like, I will also help my little sister go through school. Mm-hmm. But then I think like the boyfriend lost his job and the sister got pregnant. Yeah. And so like they lost their housing. They became very housing insecure. And so she volunteered for them to move into her one-bedroom apartment.
You let them.
Stop being
the
a
boyfriend
martyr,
showed
you
up
asshole.
and said, I would like to live here. And she said, come on in and live here. And then she's like, I can't. How dare they live here?
And then she sets no boundaries. And then she gets mad at them for crossing her boundaries. And I'm like, listen, bitch. No.
She's mad at them for things like having sex.
Yeah. And if that's the case, if you need them to have sex more quietly, those are words that have to come out of your mouth.
Yes.
You know?
And you know who would say that to her sister and her boyfriend?
Who?
A badass.
That's right.
And so I'm on page 3 and I'm like, ma'am, like I don't need the heroine in the story to be a badass, but I need her not to brag about it. And then if she does, I need her to show me receipts. That's what I need. So she says he showed up at her door and he said, I couldn't stand another day without my family. The 21-year-old fool cried. I'm like, why is he a fool? And then it says, yes, my sister fell for a younger man. I would call him a child groom, except they aren't even married. So is she like shaming her sister for having a child out of wedlock? Then 3 paragraphs later, she says, my sister is kind of an idiot. Always has been. And yet she snagged a man who truly loves her. Every time I think about them, I want to throw up a little. And that was before I got a concussion. And I'm like, what? Again, receipts. Like, if you're going to call these people fools and idiots, like, give me something besides that they had, like, unprotected sex.
Right. And, like, want to get married.
And, like, love each other.
Are very committed to their family unit.
It's like, how dare she find a man who loves her? Oh, my God.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So we see this whole scene of the sister being like her sister openly breastfeeding. And I'm like, let the tits fly. You breastfeed wherever you fucking need to. Nobody can say a fucking word about that. Especially in her fucking house.
That in her house where she lives in front of her sister.
That is her domicile.
Like, if your sister hasn't seen your boobs, like, that's your problem.
Right?
Like, you have that problem.
I'll say it's a dysfunction.
I agree.
Yeah. So, and meanwhile, this, like, pretty much never comes back.
No, that's the thing.
It sets
up
if
the sister's a heroine in another book or something. Like, maybe this guy goes away. I don't know.
No idea.
She calls her apartment Brooklyn's equivalent of a trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is it the wedlock? Like, is it? I don't understand.
I know. Especially since it seems like a really nice apartment.
Mm-hmm. Like, because he won't put on a shirt, she's mad. Because, like, Nate shows up and he won't put on a shirt. And that's why he's like, oh, she's a trailer. They're a trailer park?
I guess. I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of weird slut and socioeconomic shaming that I couldn't really get behind. So anyway.
So Nate shows up.
Basically what happens is Nate shows up. Nate is a billionaire. And he's just throwing hundreds around. You know what I mean? Like billionaires do. No, he comes to the door and he's like, hey, heard you were sick, ? How are you now? And she's like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm completely fine.
Right.
And she's like, I'll be able to get back to work so soon. And he's like, not worried about that. I just, want to make sure you're okay. And I think he like brings flowers too. I don't know.
So.
Anyway, so he's like, when are you getting checked out by the team doctor? I want to make sure you're well, but like not to come back to the office just because you're a friend who I've known for a really long time. And I want you to be okay. Do you have anything else to say about this conversation?
Well, I just feel like she has a lot of weird anxiety about Nate in her house, being her boss and being a billionaire and like having a lot of shame about the not brother-in-law, but the sister's boyfriend, like not wearing a shirt. And like she's really anxious about stuff that like Nate clearly doesn't care about. And once you start reading the book, you realize like how close they've been for like 10 years. And it seems really strange.
It makes no sense.
The level of anxiety she has about her situation. And even like the brother starts, or the sister's boyfriend starts talking about like a science fiction book he's reading. And she's like, shut up about your stupid book. Yeah. And Nate's like, I would like to know more about science fiction book. I am nerd.
I would love to
hear it. And she's like, no, it's stupid. Like, it's very weird.
And also, he got it from the library because he can't even afford books. Like,
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. It is weird. But once we get past this this scene, then I think we're smooth sailing. Also, he notes that Lauren is going to take over for her.
Oh yeah, back at the Bruiser's office. And we find out that she used to be Nate's personal assistant, and then Lauren used to be the office manager of the Brooklyn Bruisers. And then when he bought the team 2 years ago, he swapped them. He made Lauren his PA and then her the office manager of the Bruisers. And so now she's always had this weird thing where she's like, I don't understand why he it feels like a demotion, but he keeps insisting it's not. And like, I don't really understand. And so she's like, okay, well, Lauren already took my job once. Like, what's happening now? Like, I need to keep my job because I do need to afford this trailer park for my brother and sister and that tiny nephew that always makes my sister get her boobs out. And and so
which is crude.
How dare he eat? Yeah, and so she's like, it makes her even more anxious because she's like, they'll just replace me. I'm completely replaceable. I'm a cog. And no matter how much literally everyone tells her that that's not the case, the whole book, she does not understand that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then we fast forward to Sunday, right?
No, we flash backward to...
Oh, do we flash back now?
I think so.
Yeah, we flash back to her getting the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I listened to the audiobook for this again, and I also read it. But so it's cool because there is a narrator for Rebecca, there is a narrator for Nate, and then there is a flashback narrator, which I thought was so good.
That is a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool, especially since like the point of view completely changes in the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. We go from first person to like omniscient narrator in the flashbacks. And that, I mean, I loved that too.
See, that was the thing I didn't love about the flashbacks.
Really?
Like, love a flashback, didn't love the POV change. And I think the reason why is maybe it wasn't the omniscience.
No, it's the way that it was royal gentry.
It's this
wording.
Like fairy tale language of like, our fair maiden does this and our hero does that, and once upon a time something.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit with the feel of the story to me because it felt like a very casual contemporary story, and then there's this kind of like fairy tale.
But she's a Jane Austen, remember?
But is it like that? Didn't fit to me either.
Rebecca's a Jane Austen, though.
But is she?
Like she just is such a Jane Austen.
It didn't fit for me. But I love the flashbacks. I just didn't like that kind of like language that was used. And our best friend Sarah Whitney. Right. Critically
famous
acclaimed
author.
Award-winning author. Please buy her
of
series,
the Tempting series, the Tempt Me
various
series.
Things, taste, and that kind of thing. She was reading a Sarina Bowen at the same time I was reading this, a different book with also flashbacks that had the same thing. And she's like, I really like this book. I just don't like how the flashbacks are kind of like this kind of royal fairy tale language. And I was like, oh, are you reading Brooklynaire? And she's like, no, I'm reading a different Sarina Bowen. Huh. So I feel like this is kind of a thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Erin, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Erin and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass.
So I really liked the POV change, and I don't have a big opinion on the fairy tale language. Maybe I found it charming. I don't know. I don't really remember, honestly. Like when I was going through it. But yeah, I do like the POV change, though. It's a really cool thing.
I think I may have liked it without the fairy tale language. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that makes sense. All right. So anyway, she's getting the job. Nate's at this like startup and there's ping pong tables, so many ping pongs and dude bros and code monkeys, she says out loud.
Very, very bro-y, very casual, very pizza boxes.
Yes.
Very don't know how to do their books and accounting. So
Correct.
They're just geniuses and they can't be bothered with things like business things.
I mean, I say that all the time. You know, like that's why I can't do our books or all that
genius. All I am is genius.
I'm just such a hot genius. I can't.
Can you just help me? I'm just hot genius. I'm the talent. Natalie.
I am the talent.
Natalie. Do the stuff. Take pizza boxes. I don't understand. I'm just genius. But also, like, high-key, Natalie is genius.
No, seriously. High-key, hire Natalie.
High-key, hire Natalie to be your assistant.
Honestly, if I had more money and she lived closer to me, I think I would just, like, figure out a way to cohabitate with her and, like, make her be my mom, like, my mom and my sister and my everything. All logistics go through Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would like.
Everything go through all of it. Okay, so wait, what are we doing? Oh yeah, she's getting that job.
Yeah.
And so he's just very like, he's such a genius.
Yeah.
He's such a tech genius. Like he can't even pay attention to her.
Yeah,
he's like doing a furious typing. He's like so much in his brain. This is a very Nate thing. Is like he doesn't like make eye contact a lot and he like doesn't listen to you a lot. And then he'll be like, wait, what did you say? Right.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
But until it's her though, you know?
Yes.
If it's something that is like important to her, he's listening always.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Which I guess, I mean, yeah. So anyway, her dad has just died. She's in like a big, you know, she's under a lot of strain and she's so excited that she basically gets the job on the spot. Mm-hmm. And so she's been with him since he was literally nobody. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she's been by his side as he's been building this now Fortune 500, like, billionaire, the CEO, the financial.
Listen, he's a tech person.
He's a
and
phone.
He did like a Jeff Bezos or something. But like mostly book is hockey, so I think like maybe he just mostly does hockey now. I don't really understand like who is running tech company.
Yeah,
because mostly Nate just hockey now.
Mostly Nate just always hockey.
This is where we also find out that they love making palindromes at each other. Like they're very both into palindromes, which is a strange thing to be very into. But I like that they had a thing that was weird that they were into.
That she immediately jumps on board with.
But how?
I do want that noted for the record.
How? Speaking of hot geniuses, this is the thing that makes her a badass. If she had said, it is a truth universally acknowledged that I am something of a badass, I can palindrome at the drop of a fucking hat, I would be like, receipts. Yeah. On board, ma'am.
No.
Got it.
I can do a full sentence palindrome.
My brain like seizes when I see one of it. When it's like, oh, that's a palindrome. I'm like, okay, go to the end and go backwards. But also the beginning and go forwards again. But at the same time. And then it meets. I like it's so hard for me even to check and see if it is a palindrome. Let alone think of it in my brain.
They kept on saying palindromes, and I would have to like pause the audiobook to be like, not a banana, but oh, it is a palindrome.
I was looking at the letters and I still had trouble. That's the thing. Rebecca is a badass, but not for any of the reasons she said at the beginning.
Well, I think you herbs the part where she says she is not ashamed of Googling them.
I don't care.
I can
thinks
Google.
Of Here's the truth.
She does.
Here's a real thing. Mm-hmm. I'm Erin, and I just found out I'm working at a new place. My new hot boss loves a palindrome, and so I do a big Google. You know what I don't remember the next morning? Any of the fucking palindromes. What was it? Banana something? I don't know.
Fair enough.
So even just remembering the palindromes that you Googled last night.
Badass.
That's a big genius badass to me.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, if we were smart, good podcasters, we would have thought of some good Heaving Bosoms palindromes today.
Come on. That's what other podcasters do. It's not what they come here for.
You're right. They come here for dumb bitch stuff, not smart bitch stuff. All right.
You know your brand, I guess.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So now he's he's
one
back
more thing.
Tell me everything
About palindromes. She does recognize that all the palindromes written on the wall are palindromes.
Yeah.
That would be hard to do.
Oh yeah. No, that's impossible.
How dare you? Fuck off. Just start reading again. Fuck you. I would not know. You wouldn't know either. How dare you?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I've never been in a situation where nobody.
Because they're long boys. If it was just like race car, you'd be like, okay. But they're long boys. They're whole sentences. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So now we're back in Brooklyn, present day, and Nate is at his hockey team, and he's doing a big pump up with them because they're going into the hockey playoffs, which are so long. I dated a hockey once.
Oh, I dated a hockey.
Oh, it is a big surreptitious. No, superstitious.
It is a big superstitious.
And it's so long.
Okay, so he gives like a pep talk to the hockeys.
Yes.
Does owner give pep talk? Is that a thing?
I mean, she describes him as one of the most hands-on owners in the business later on. And so I feel like probably not, but Nate does. Anyway, he's like, it's so funny. I have nothing in common with these guys except that we've worked hundreds and thousands of hours to be the best in our field, and they respect that about me.
It was a real humble brag.
Nate. Okay, sit down.
Yeah, just like be
sit
cool.
down with your brain. Jesus.
I liked that these guys were really into Nate, but I was surprised
Same.
that they were really into Nate.
Same.
Because I think if I were a hockey, I would be like, fuck this guy. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that they find him to be an inspire.
Yeah, same. Okay, so now he's waiting around in the hallway, and his assistant is trying to do business with him, and he's super not into it because he's waiting for Rebecca to go and have a traumatic brain injury appointment with the team doctor. And so he goes into the appointment with her, which is like big problems, with the privacy situations.
Mm-hmm. But it's because they're friends, though,
I know. But this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's weird about him being in her house, and yet not weird in him being in her doctor's appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to me.
Let's just, you know what? Chapter 1 isn't canon.
It's true.
Let's just take.
We're just retconning
Chapter 1's
the whole
an anomaly.
Thing.
Yeah. Because from there on out, she's like totally comfortable with him all the time, everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, doctor wants her to get more rest, and the team doctor wants her to go see a specialist. And he's like, the best in the business is this guy, Dr. Ekshmaberthathy. So you got to go to him. But, his schedule is rough. So he puts her in the car for some reason. He's like, hey, I have this idea, or like, I want to hang out with you. Listen, he gets her into a car. And he's like, you're going to call the doctor? And she's like, sure. So she calls the doctor, and the only appointment they have is like, I don't know, a month and a half away or something like that. And he's like, no, I don't think so. So he takes her to his house, and he's got...
Wait, I'm sorry.
What?
We missed two big things.
Oh, God.
One was that when we were talking to Lauren, the assistant, she told him about this benefit. And he's got to meet his friend Alex from college, who's a lady at the benefit.
Yeah.
And he wants a buffer because he's worried that Alex is going to ambush him about some kind of like merger or like
and
schmacquisition.
Also something else that has to do with his penis, maybe.
Right. But like he doesn't say that.
No. But I feel like that is he buried the lead, Nate. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely did. But he was like, oh, I don't know. She's going to like ambush me or whatever. So then Lauren's like, you ought to bring a date. And he's like, a date? I don't know what to do there. So like that little is dropped. And then he catches her when she like does her big stumble.
Oh, you're right. There is that big stumble catch.
There's a big romance stumble catch.
It's true. You're right.
Just FYI,
and
it happened. Okay, so now she goes to his billionaire house.
Yeah, so she goes to this big mansion on like Piedmont Place. Oh my God, why can't I talk tonight? I'm very out of practice, Erin.
I know, we haven't podcasted in so long.
I know.
So long.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she goes to his big giant mansion, and it sounds like my actual nightmare. Like, he had a bunch of
mansion?
decorators come in and do the whole thing in, like, pretentious antiques. She keeps on talking about things being ornate, and, like, I just shiver all over. I just hate it so much. I could not imagine living in a museum like that. No. Sorry. Erin, like.
Didn't hate it.
Nope. I would walk in there and redecorate the whole thing.
It
I
did
hate
seem
it.
cozy in places, though.
Yeah, but there's like chandeliers and like gold,
Love a chandelier.
gold glinting, whatever.
Love a
and,
gold
like,
glinty.
No.
Love it.
Blech.
Yeah, I would be like, this is where I belong. It wouldn't seem that if you are watching the video and you can see where I do belong, where I am belonging. However, that's, you know.
I mean, you fit everywhere.
I would really
Erin.
like love it.
Okay, so basically he's like, all right, we're gonna have Mrs. Gray is his housekeeper and like cook.
She's like, she like lives there.
She
Does she like live there?
I don't know.
But then when like there was this like Christian Grey joke with her, it made me wonder. So like this is never going to come back. So let's just drop it now. Like there's this like joke that her name's Mrs. Grey and she has like a husband she super loves and his name is Christian Grey.
Yeah.
And like they make a little 50 Shades joke and she says she read it and like
she read it to him.
Yeah, like Mrs. Grey fucks. And that made me think about the housekeeper in 50 Shades of Grey, which we did read about. Remember that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
like once we found out that housekeeper fucked,
Cleaned
they
his
like called
butt
her by
plug?
her yeah, they called her by her first name.
Had
for a
to
little bit.
clean his butt plugs.
I know. I remember.
Rude.
But like that made me wonder if like Sarina Bowen didn't know this and was like justice for housekeeper a little bit. And
I'm
like,
sure that's what it is. I love it.
You think?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's what I think. Yeah. I thought that the whole time.
All right, good.
Yeah, because she's actually like treated with respect. She has like real good boundaries. She's, you know, she's like, I gotta go because my husband's always horny after he comes back from bowling. Like, it's great. I love her.
So then Nate calls. So Doctor can't get her in for months. And then so Nate calls Doctor and gives him $50,000 to do a patient.
Well, he gives $50,000 to a TBI charity that the Doctor is on the board of. So it's not a direct bribe, but it's like a very roundabout bribe.
It's a super bribe.
It's definitely a bribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like beside herself. She's like, he just paid $50,000 for my appointment. And he's like, no, I didn't. I should be donating to this thing anyway because I have a hockey team. And I'm like,
but you wouldn't have.
But also like, shut the fuck up. You know?
What? Her or him?
Yes. Her. Shut the fuck up.
I would be super uncomfortable with this. Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, no.
I am not
I would be
kidding.
So uncomfortable
oh my
with
god
this.
We're gonna have so many disagreements about this later on.
Oh my gosh, I just hate it when people use money for things. I would hate it. And then you've got like this weird like indebtedness, and then like think of all the poorer people that don't have rich billionaire friend with TBIs that have to wait until September. And I would be like, no, I would just really rather die and like let them cut in front of me in the line. I would be freaked out by this whole thing.
I hear
100%.
you.
I would actually, if I got quick appointment and I thought that I bumped somebody out of the line, I would like honestly think about, did somebody die because Erin has billionaire friend? That would be
really?
Honestly, I would honestly think about that.
That makes more sense. Yeah. That makes sense. I thought it wasn't
and also
like
it's legal. Like I don't know if that's legal. Like it's a direct bribe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it.
Fair enough. No, I you know what? Now I'm rethinking my stance on this one particular
Oh yeah,
thing.
because you like it when people, die because of your privilege.
Is it a death thing?
It could be. He's a TBI doctor.
Do you die from those?
Sometimes?
I thought you just like go a little maybe murder.
Dude, Natasha Richardson died of a TBI.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know who a Natasha Richardson is.
She's Liam Neeson's wife.
Whoa. All right. Well, if it's like a near-death situation, yeah, I don't agree with this.
All right.
I just thought that TBIs were like, they were a long-term problem.
I would get squeaked out if it were me. I would
Fair
not
enough.
like this. And I might not go to the appointment.
Fair enough. Well, no wonder he showed up there to make sure she showed up there. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's like, hey, I also have an idea. Oh, but before that, he looks at Mrs. Gray and he says, hey, Rebecca's going to be staying here for a few days and I'm going to put her in this bedroom. And she's like, Baswa? What are you talking about? So,
Baswa is such a funny.
What?
But he does do a neck massage.
Yeah, he does that neck massage. That's real nice.
Good.
He does a couple of those rub downs that are very sexy.
He does a good sexy rub down.
Yeah. Anyway, he's like, you need to stay at my house for a few days because your house is super loud and you can't get any rest there. You said it yourself. I have this giant empty house. And she's like, no, I couldn't possibly. How could I ever do such a person? And he's like, I'm not going to be here anyway. And I'm sitting there going, shut the fuck up, Rebecca. Just stay at the house. Like, this is one of the things that is constant. I mean, okay, yeah. So not the bribing the TBI doctor. However, things like this, I'm like,
yeah,
shut up.
I think I'd be fine staying at the house.
Yeah. Or like, if instead he offered to like get her a hotel room, I would be fine with that. Just like, yes. I don't know. Anyway, so she does stay there and he's very excited about it. He loves having her in his house. And so he does like a work and then they play Scrabble.
Yes, they do play Scrabble.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
It's
and
very
is there
cute.
Oreos? I feel like there was Oreos.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because she was like, you're going to beat me so hard with your giant brain. And she's
Mhm.
like, well, she says, we better not bet like a huge amount. And he's like, how about we bet cookies? And I was like, Nate, you're getting sexier. I don't know.
It's getting worse.
Listen, I don't know.
Also, like, imagine being like a certified genius
Mm-hmm.
and then like playing Scrabble against a lady with like a head injury so bad she can't read. And being like, let's place bets. Like, I kind of like that energy from him. Like, I'm going to beat you so bad. I'm already so much smarter than you, but like also you got a head injury.
Head injury.
Like they have to play Scrabble because they can't watch TV because her brain can't take it.
Right. Ooh.
Oh, love that competitive energy.
I do.
Love it.
Yeah, that's nice. So anyway, they share this moment where she's like, yeah, I think we should get extra points if things are like R-rated. And then he obviously starts thinking about things that are R-rated and he like looks at her super hot and she's like, is Nate looking at me in that way? Like, how? In what world could that possibly be true with my voluptuous tits and my fucking lingerie later on? How? And then the moment's gone and it dissipates.
My future lingerie. How could he? All right, so now we're back in the flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, okay, so it starts out, Kattenberger Technologies is a peaceful kingdom mostly, and fair Rebecca had quickly becomes the de facto ruler of the castle. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
But the POV change is fine.
I hear you.
Okay, so then is this
He gets
where
cheated on.
Yes.
He goes home early one day, like the first day ever.
Yes. Well, Nate had a girlfriend who became a fiance from the beginning. Like when they met, he was not single.
Yeah.
And her name is Juliet, and she has made a CrossFit friend.
Yeah.
Who they kind of shame for not drinking, which is not okay. Don't shame people for not drinking. Let people not drink if they don't want to drink.
I mean, I didn't think of it as shaming. I just thought that like overall this dude sucked. And also the vibe I got is that like he makes it awkward if you order a drink.
Oh, well, that's different.
You know what I mean? He's like, ugh, I can't even get a beer around him because he doesn't drink. And I'm like, that's not, I mean, like if there's an addiction issue, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you're just like such an asshole that you're holier than thou about veganism and not drinking, like go fuck yourself.
Fair enough. So he goes home early to surprise her before this dinner.
And boy, does she get surprised.
Yeah. Rebecca's working late at the office. And then he comes back. Is that right?
Yeah.
And he's really sad. And she figures out what the deal is. She
Yeah.
can just kind of like intuit what the deal is.
They're so close.
Yeah. And so she goes and gets him some tacos.
Empanadas.
And
But yes.
empanadas. Oh, no, but she does a palindrome about
Yes,
tacos
that's the only
is
reason
thing.
I corrected you. I'm not being
Yeah.
a dick about it.
Well, I think you were a dick, and this is over.
You know
Goodbye.
what? There is a big difference between intent versus impact, and I will remember that.
Okay, good. Well, we almost broke up just now. So she gets some empanadas, and they eat them,
wait.
and they do.
Also, that's really true. Like, I know
What?
that sounded really weird just now. Like, I
What?
was saying it's dumb.
What is
Intent
dumb?
versus impact.
No, that is
You know?
true.
No, I just wanted to make it clear that, like, I'm not making fun of that. I'm making fun of
but we're
me
making
saying
fun
it
of
about
that we
that.
were having a fake fight.
Right. Okay, good. I just
Yes,
want
okay, all right.
listener to know because that's a thing I live by. That's all.
No, you guys, most of the fights we have on air are fake.
Yeah.
And we're laughing about them. Okay. All right. I would say like roughly 60% of the
Like
fights
it-
we've had in front of you are
Yeah, like 45%.
Mostly like at least 10% are fake.
Like 7% of our fights are like totally fake. Okay.
Hey HBs, I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's like, if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
All right, so we're back in Nate's POV. He's doing work.
Merger.
He's thinking about that night where they had the Scrabble times, and he's
Yes.
thinking about how it was the best night ever. Man,
Ever.
what does happen in this chapter?
Doesn't
I
he
don't
come home?
remember.
And he's like, wow, I'm just rushing home because I would love to. My house is always empty, and it's the first time since Juliet that somebody's going to be there. And we find out, like, Juliet,
Mhm.
she was his college, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they were fucking on their
we do
kitchen
the Christian
table,
Grey thing.
when he walked in.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. All the things you'd think.
Right. And then since then, he's been like very single because he's fallen into the trap of like, oh, who's dating me for me or who's dating me for my money? And like,
Oh,
It's
yes,
so
because
hard.
billionaire. It's so
And, like,
hard for those
I know,
sad
it's
billionaires.
sad.
They're so sad.
And
sad
like,
rich
and, like, I
boys.
get that is like a thing, but also like, shut the fuck up, Nate.
But like, also just date
Right?
billionaires.
Like, I don't know. Anyway, like,
Yeah. Or someone who's known
yeah,
you since
who's
before.
known and adored you since
All right.
before.
Yes.
Yeah, and so he comes home and he like hears her laughter from the kitchen, and he's like, "Whoa, I've
Mhm.
never been so charmed by my house in my life. What a charming house it is now." And then like, what happens, Erin?
I think it's more Scrabble. Like, we go back into Rebecca's point of view, and she talks about like how they were like doing little R-rated things and bodily functions, and then they talk about like she played burp, and then they like joked about having a dirty mind, which was kind of weird because it was like
Yeah.
about burp, and that's not like very
Mhm.
dirty.
Oh, they also there's the whole Bingley thing. He has this AI he's working on in his house.
Oh yeah.
And at first it was Hal from a movie, an 80s movie, a 90s movie. Listen, it was a robot voice. And now...
Okay, 2001 A Space Odyssey is what Melody was looking for, and it was Hal.
I said Hal. I said that.
Previously. It was Hal. It was a Hal
Is
voice.
Hal a person?
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, no. Hal is a character in the film.
Oh!
He's the computer that is the ship.
I just assumed that Hal was a robot. Like the voice of the
Is,
robot.
yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is a character who's at odds with the human man.
Totally. Yeah, I hear that.
Yes.
Makes
sure.
total sense.
Yeah. But anyway, we do change that
Deus
computer
Ex Machina and stuff, you know?
We do change it to Mr. Bingley, who is a nice robot that is British now, to kind of go with this Pride and
Because
Prejudice
she's a Jane
theme,
Austen.
which, I guess. Okay, so then there's like a night where he has hockey game, but she can't watch hockey game because her brain can't take moving pictures, and she makes Bingley turn on the TV, but like she won't look at it. And it was not like Nate programmed Bingley to not turn on any TVs, not even at her request, which I thought was pretty savage.
Yeah.
Anyway, she listens to the hockey game, and I think she texts him, or I
Yeah.
don't remember.
So now we're in another flashback, and it's
Yep.
2 years before, and he's like super stoked. He's just about to, she connects him to a call to like buy a hockey team, and then they're bantering about hockey afterwards. He's sitting on her desk, and like they're chatting, and it's quitting time.
And he has realized like pretty much into Becca now.
Oh, he's completely head over heels for Becca, but he says that she's never shown him any interest whatsoever in any way.
Mhm.
And so he just like sits on it, basically.
Like he's going out and he's like getting laid, but he's not in relationships due to sad billionaire.
Yeah.
He says at some point the tryst stopped being interesting right around the same time he began to find himself meditating on the shape of Becca's curves and closing his eyes when she stood next to him.
Mhm.
A well-timed deep breath could summon her lilac scent, sending it deep into his lonely chest.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big romance. I enjoyed
it's good
that.
stuff, Serena.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
When this thing picks up, it picks up. It's good.
Yeah, it starts at galloping. Anyway, so then he's talking with her, and then her like casual boyfriend comes in, and he thinks that he's just like coming to drop off a package because he's wearing a courier outfit, but he does kiss Becca on the mouth. And so Nate's immediately like, I want to murder everyone, and that is not an okay reaction. And that's basically why he flips Lauren and Becca, because he just can't watch her be with other people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get her out of his system so that he can continue being her friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking that not being as proximate to her will help.
Right. But really, it just made Becca think she was a big, dumb idiot
terrible
who couldn't handle her
assistant.
job.
Bad at her job.
Or that she did something to offend him or something.
So now we have a doctor's appointment. Big Dr. Schmabberblathy is doing the doctor's appointment, and Nate's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to the appointment, and when he gets there, she's coming out of the door crying, and he's like, oh my gosh, and he gets to her in like 4 strides, even though he was at least a football field away. And he scoops her up into his arms, and he's like, what's the matter? Tell me everything. We'll fix it together. And she's like, he knows what's wrong with me. Huzzah! He thinks I'm going to be okay. Hooray! And he's like, why are you crying then? And she's like, they're relief tears. Like, it's been really scary until
because
now.
you're supposed to be over a concussion in like a couple of weeks, and it's been like 6 weeks or something crazy like this, and no one knows what's wrong with her. And so even though it's like a worse thing that's wrong with her, it's like some kind of a blood vessel.
It's a different thing.
Schmur that does like an inner ear warbler.
One of those.
That's like worse than a concussion. At least now she knows what
it's a vestibular
is,
problem.
and there's like a path. And there's like a path forward to fixing it.
So basically she has to do physical therapies.
Right. Honorable mention, Assistant Lauren.
Oh yeah, she's great.
In the car over, she's like really pushing the Nate and Becca situation, which I really loved how Becca kind of hates Lauren.
And Lauren's completely on her side.
So on her side. Like when we're in Becca's POV, it's like, oh, Lauren, who's like perfect looking and so stuck up and like so aloof and hates hockey and doesn't like, it's just kind of like mean to everybody.
And really,
she is kind of like that, but she is like really in her corner. Yeah. And so I guess the speech he gave to the hockey boys, he was like, hey, why not us? Like, why can't we win?
And why
the
not
cup?
now?
Like, maybe we're
If
new.
not now, when?
Maybe, you know, why not now? If not now, why not
Us.
me? And she was like, yeah, us.
I don't know.
And in the car, she's like, I really like that speech you gave to hockey boys the other day. And he's like, yeah, it was pretty much big inspire. And she's like, I really like the part where it's like, you know, why not now? Why not me? Why not you?
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you?
He's like, I
what are
don't
you
know what we're
referring
talking
to?
about anymore.
And she's like, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, and then she goes, give Becca my love, and gets out of the car. And it is great.
So good. Because she's like, you're going to her medical
Yeah.
appointments? And he's like, yeah, well, she's my office manager of one of my corporations.
It's true.
What a dumb
He's so
dumb.
cute. Anyway, so
Okay.
they get falafel and they walk the Brooklyn Bridge and they have like a big date and she bops him on the hip with her hip and he wants to kiss her over it. And it's a nice.
Yeah. But like also like, okay, vestibular
I know. Why
problem
isn't
in
she
her
so
ear
tired?
needs- why Brooklyn Bridge is
I
far.
know.
Also summertime. Also like, listen, if I were with you right now and you were like, let's get a falafel and walk the Brooklyn Bridge, I would be like, okay, but I need to make sure I'm wearing the right
Yeah,
clothes.
the right
I need to
shoes.
hydrate. Like it's not a nothing
Mhm.
walk, you know? And also her brain is bad.
Yeah.
It's like all swollen
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know. I was kind of nervous for her on this situation. But anyways. So she goes to a physical therapy appointment.
Oh God, yeah. I skipped
next.
all of the physical therapy. Herbs.
I think I did. I think I also herbs it because I didn't.
Nothing
highlight
happens in
anything in here. And she meets up with like her friends who are characters in other books. I think
Yes.
there is like a little bit of like Nate's hot from the friends. Like, hey, if you happen to catch him with his shirt off, like take a pic, like sort of stuff.
Because on the Brooklyn Bridge, they decided that she was going to go to the benefit with him down in Florida because he needs a date anyway.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the whole thing, the reason we're at the doctor's appointment is because right after that, she's jumping on a plane. Again, vestibular issue. Should you be changing elevation like that at such a big,
no, because
fast
remember
rate?
that time I blew out my eardrum on that plane?
I do.
Yes. It hurt. And I lost 30% of
It
hearing
was
in
a
one
bloody,
ear.
is what it
Mhm.
was.
Yeah, my ear
Yes.
bled. Blood came out of
Yeah.
my ear. You guys, it hurt bad. And the lady next to me on the plane must have been like real freaked out in like an X-Files way. Because there was a lot of like me clutching my head like it was going to explode. And then there was blood coming out of my ear.
She's waiting for the parasite to crawl out afterward.
Yep.
Oh, boy. All right. So then she goes to Florida.
Yeah. But we were like landed at that point, so I didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
was
I
just
mean, like, why would you talk to a stranger about that anyway?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't want you to think I was like mid-air and I said nothing. Like the whole point was that we were landing, so I just waited to get
Oh,
off
I
the
see.
plane. Dealt with it then.
You didn't look over at
I
her
wasn't like,
and
"Oh,
say,
it's fine."
don't worry, there's not a parasite that's going to come out of my brain.
I didn't know. That's what it's- like at the I had not self-diagnosed eardrum burst, but I had diagnosed on the ground, not going to alert a flight attendant. May as well just get off plane.
Fair enough. That's so scary. All right.
No.
Anyway, so she goes to Florida.
Yes.
She goes on that beach with her friend. It's a non-thing. It's just like Nate hot.
Yeah, Nate's hot. They go out to the beach. The benefit is also on the beach.
Yeah. She does get, okay, this is one of the times, justice for Lauren. Seriously.
Yes.
Because George is like, oh yeah, do you mind? Lauren invited us to like go get ready in her room. And Becca looks at her and she's like, when has Lauren ever wanted to hang out with us? And George is like, I know. I have no idea. And then like they get there and Lauren's like, hey, it's so good to see you. And she immediately is like, oh, don't worry, I can't come back to work. Like, don't get excited about the fact that I'm like semi-okay because I still can't come back to work. She thinks that that's the reason Lauren is like, hi.
Being
Hello.
nice to her.
So mean.
Ma'am.
Anyway.
Yeah. She wears dress, Nate wears suit. Both look great in dress and suit.
Yeah.
Go to beach, where is benefit.
Alex is a big ol' bitch.
Alex is there, who is the friend from college who is also maybe, but she's a fellow billionaire, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so she would be somebody he could get with, you know. Like, it's not like he doesn't know other female billionaires. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway.
No, I know.
So he has like really awkward conversation with Alex, and Alex is being really rude toward Becca.
Yeah. She essentially is like, why did you bring the help to our cocktail date, you and I?
Yeah.
And he can't figure out why she's mad. And like, you know, it's a whole thing. So
then we get into Nate's head, and it turns out the last time he saw Alex, he had sex with her.
They boned!
Like 2 or 3 months ago, like not long ago. It's not like, oh, I saw Alex 5 years ago and we boned in a hotel. This is like right before the beginning of the book.
And they never debriefed about it.
No.
And this is the first time they're seeing each other in person.
Yeah, they never debrief. And they've been friends since college, so it's not like so it's not like it's a one night stand that's like they completely separate. Like they're still friends after. They never debrief about the sex. Then she invites him to this fancy Florida party, and he's like, "Sure, I'd love to go, Alex." And then there's this rando on his arm. Like, justice for Alex.
Justice for Alex. Hard.
I would have been just as mean.
Of
like,
course.
Not to her, but like definitely to him.
Definitely to him. Yeah. I would be put out if that were
like
me.
If he walked up with her and said hello, I would say, wow.
Yeah.
Like that would be my greeting.
I would be like, oh yeah?
Excuse you?
This is what we're doing right now?
Okay.
All right. So they do that thing. There's a point when Becca comes back to the bar when like the benefit's actually going on, and Alex comes over and she's like, oh, hey, lowly office manager.
Mm-hmm.
Why did Nate like trade up with Lauren? Like, do you remember why he fired you and sent you to Brooklyn instead of like keeping you in Manhattan? And she's like, no, I don't know why. And I don't
really mean of you to
I
say.
don't know why you're pushing my biggest self-conscious button right now. I have a head. Did you hear about my head injury? Anyway, so Alex is like, no.
Head injury is the best defense. Like, man,
Can you
I had like a little slack
this
7
one time?
weeks ago.
I bumped my
Please.
head real good.
Real hard.
Anyway, so Alex looks at her and she's like, no, I'm just saying, like, maybe you should ask him why he did that. And she's like, okay. And she's like, all right, cool, bye. And she fucks off. So then she's like, you know what? You know what I'm going to do since nobody respects my head injury? I'm not going to either. Give me a champagne.
I've never identified with a character more. Than someone who does something real stupid against medical advice and then is like, take care of me. I'm sorry, okay? Yeah, I know the doctor told me not to do this, but I did.
But I did. And now he does distance.
Take care of me.
Oh my
That's a real Erin mood right there. For sure.
All right. So now she's a big woozy and she doesn't know what to do about it. She's also okay, listen. I am a barefoot bitch, but I would never at a fancy benefit with professional hockey players and NBA players and
She
like
was falling.
senators.
No, concussion.
Before that, she took off her
She
heels
did?
and just slid them under a bar stool. Beginning of the night. She's just been prancing around.
Wait, but wasn't she on the beach for that?
No, she did it before they went to the beach. And then they went to the beach and then she just left them off. So anyway, that she goes and she's like, oh God, thank goodness. There's the nicest bathroom I've ever been in my life. And then, Erin, what does she do when she goes into this bathroom? What does she do?
I don't remember.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay.
She goes into a stall to have some privacy while she tries to recover from her head injury. And I ask you, am I supposed to leave her until she's done being a woozy?
Wow.
How am I to know whether or not that bitch is pooping? How
So
am
are you
I
trying to say
know?
But okay. So let's say she isn't
There's no
pooping.
kerplunk, Erin.
You
Should I
would
just assume she's pooping?
She's pooping. Yes.
And I have to leave?
Yes, you have to leave. But if you did it your way, you're still not going to save her from her brain problem.
And then half an hour later, I'm still waiting outside, crossing my legs and
that's when
bouncing up and down.
No, you give the person a reasonable amount of time.
How do
Also,
you know she
hotel,
doesn't have
go to
a
different
newspaper
bathroom.
in there?
Go to a different
Erin.
bathroom. What? What did you say?
How do you know she's not a newspaper in there?
What does that mean? Like she's reading?
Yeah, she's pooping. Maybe it
Go to a
takes
different
her
bathroom. Go to a different
45
bathroom.
minutes and a whole novel to shit. That's what I think you're trying to tell
crazy
everybody.
Woman right now. Go to a different bathroom.
No! Absolutely not. I refuse. Anyway, okay.
Sorry.
Also, the HBs were with me on that one. We got
No,
zero
I
feedback that agreed with you.
I did remember. No, because the problem is you're
Zero.
not in the Facebook group, and there was a lot of chatter in the Facebook group, and there was a
I
poll.
have spies, right?
There's a poll, and it came out on my side. Who are your spies?
I don't know. Anyway, so
How am I not your spies? I'm your best friend, and I'm telling you, who are you going to trust? Kim or whatever?
Literally
or me?
everyone but you on this one topic.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's smart, actually.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Okay, so anyway, Lauren comes in and she's like, "Hey, do you need help? It seemed like you were a wooz." And Becca's like, "My head, I did a thing and don't take care of me." And so then she looks at Lauren, who's like, "Hold on, stay here. I'll go get your shoes, you weirdo." She goes all the way
Yes.
back to the party to get her shoes.
Yes.
And Becca looks at her and she says, "Why are you being so nice to me? Ma'am!"
Yeah.
Justice
She's
for
a nice
Lauren.
person, Becca.
Justice for Lauren. And she's very
I
competent,
think
Becca.
Justice for Lauren is the next book. I think that's the title of the next book
I think so too.
in this series.
Anyway, so Lauren takes her up and tucks her in and she's like, "Don't tell Nate, he'll yell at me." Even though Nate's literally she just 2 chapters ago talked about how level-headed he is and how he never yells.
But I will give her this.
Okay.
The one thing he is very not level-headed about is her taking care of her head injury.
Ooh, yeah.
Specifically the head injury. Like he's dropping $50,000 to get the doctor's appointment. He's like rigging his house so that the screens don't work. He is not cool and collected about the head injury situation.
Fair enough. So then she goes to sleep. Oh, I'm sorry. She gets dressed in her onesie, I was about to say. Nope.
She can't walk up a stair, but she can put on lingerie.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to me because
Crazy.
like totally sober.
I know, right?
It's a struggle to put on a lingerie.
Where does the strap go? How do I... Does this tuck in here? Oh, no.
Why not feel right?
Is this a peekaboo or not a peekaboo? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's like a negligee, though. It's a pretty standard situation. And Lauren's like, "I'm so sorry you didn't get any of that hot NBA player tail, even though it seems like you wanted to." And she's like, "Oh, no, I wear these all the time because it reminds me that sex exists." And Lauren's like, "Wow.
Such a weird
Maybe I should
thing.
take a page out of your book." And then she goes to bed in her sexy lingerie.
Yes.
And then 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, Becca. Oh. Becca. She's like, "I'm buying cashmere at Bloomingdale's. Leave me alone."
Well, no, she's like, "You just woke me up from like the best dream." And he was like, "Oh," like he makes a romance hero noise. It's like, and he's like, really?
What could your dream possibly?
And she's like, "I was buying sweaters," you know. But then she does sit up, and he does see her torso, which is
all negligee up.
Times, yeah.
And
he makes another sort of like grunt, huff, like a huff grunt, romance hero noise. And so they have like a very weird kind of like, "I care about you, don't drink while you have a head injury" sort of a conversation.
No, she tries to
And
defend
then-
herself, and he says, "No, it's not none of my business. You're an adult. You can do what you want."
No, he's not mad at her, but he's very like, "What happened?"
But then she's like,
too.
It's a weird night where it feels like we're the only 2 people alive and awake in Florida. All of Florida. Nate is the only Florida man.
The most romance location in the world. Florida.
So
it does say that. It's the middle of the night and it feels like we're the only two people awake in all of Florida. In all of Florida.
As far as the eye can see in Florida.
This beautiful peninsula of Florida.
Anyway, so she's like, Nate, can I ask you something? And he's like, yes, it's about my dick. Please let it be about my dick. And she's like,
it is kind of, though.
It is a little bit, it turns out. So she's like, why did you send me to Brooklyn? Why did you trade me with Lauren? Like, just tell me, because it's always bothered me. I didn't know why.
And then he does that thing that romance heroes do, where he opens his mouth and closes it like a fish a few times.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to answer. And then so she launches in and she's like, you can tell me, like, do you think I'm not as smart as her? Did I do something to offend you? Like, what's the deal? It's just always really bothered me. And like,
he's like, oh no, I never wanted to bother you. And then he says, no, it's not you at all. It's me. I'm so dumb. I'm such a weak man. And then he tells her that he did see her dating that guy and he couldn't handle it. And so he had to send her away. And she's like, why? And then suddenly it says something like,
but wait, before he even does that,
what?
He's like doing a cheek cup.
Oh, he is
like,
cupping her cheek.
It gets real romance before he even says that.
You're right.
It's a lot of like light face touching.
Yeah. Anyway, so that turns in. So then she's like, I ask why, but I'm not even asking why. I'm asking, why am I so attuned to you? Why am I so aware
whispers.
of your body? Why do you? Why? What's the heat radiating off of you and into me? And then he's like, I'm gonna kiss you right up. And so he kisses her, and boy, she kisses him back. And then she's like, get away from me, Nate! Like, why did you do that? We haven't done that for 7 years, and you broke the seal. We've managed not to do that for 7 years. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then he hesitates, and he's like, wait, are you mad that I kissed you, or are you mad that, like, we stopped?
Which I really enjoyed this clarify.
Same.
Because it's really, I feel like it would be very easy as an author for her to be like, what a convenient way to stop.
Yep.
To stop them, this little misunderstanding. And then they would stop, and then we can restart again and continue to build the tension.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the very realistic, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Let's clarify this now. I liked it.
So good.
Okay.
And so she's like, I like, can't I be mad at you about all of it or something like that? I don't really remember. Mm-hmm. And then she kisses him back super hard. And then it is on TM.
Oh, I did like what they said, though.
What is it?
Because he says, I'll apologize again and get the fuck out of your room. But for her love of God, help me understand. Are you pissed off about the kiss, or are you pissed off that I stopped? And she goes, that's not an easy question.
It's really good.
And then he goes, but it's multiple choice. Which I really thought was very funny.
Super good.
It looks like you're advertising Coca-Cola when you take a drink like that. You do it in such like a like. Anyway,
it's because I'm drinking
sorry,
an
listeners.
Industrial vat of water. I have to like heft it up. Anyway, so boy, they do some sex.
It's good.
This sex scene, Erin.
Yes.
It's hot.
My liking goodness of book went from like a negative in chapter
to a skyrocket
to like all the way 100% in this. It was so good.
Man, this sex scene.
Like from here on, the conflicts are great. I thought until like the very end.
I have an issue with one of the other ones preceding the end, but like,
fair enough. But it was very much a bell curve, the reading experience of this book for me.
Man, this sex scene,
this was fantastic.
Holy ballsack. This thing was great.
Yes.
Big recommend on reading this. Good stuff.
And then they take a snoozer.
They do take that
and
snooze.
Then they go a second one.
Whoo! And this time, he just sort of wordlessly, he's like touching her up and she's obviously into it. And so he just pops her onto her stomach and it says he gives it to her hard and fast and like, wowza. And then they go back to sleep again. And I'm pro snooze break,
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, sometimes you gotta take a little disco nap.
So, wow, great stuff. So then they wake up in the morning, and
yes,
they're like, He's like obviously into it and she's obviously freaked out. Oh no! Before the disco nap, she's like, Nate, because he immediately like pulls her over and starts doing a snuggle. And she's like, Nate, what do you think that was? Oh, and he's like, Becca, if you possibly can, like if this is not absolutely necessary, can we just like not
ruin
the
it.
wonderful vibe that's happening right now? And she's like, yeah, cool, fine. And then they do that snooze. So then in the morning, they still haven't talked. And he's like getting up and he's like, oh no, she gets up first. So he doesn't get a chance to like do a grope or a snuggle or anything. And then he gets up and he's like, oh yeah, do you want to go to breakfast? Do you want to do this and that and the other thing? Like, let's hang out. I wish we weren't going separate directions today because it seems like you're freaking out and like I don't want you to implode while I'm out of your sight, basically. And she's like, never! I would never do that. Anyway, so she blows him off for breakfast, and then he's like, okay, well then just please don't
She had
leave.
breakfast plans, right? With like the girls or something.
She canceled them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so she's like, I have plans, but she knows she's not even going to those plans.
Had she already canceled them?
No.
Okay, got it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, he ensures he says goodbye to her, and then they part ways. And then there's like, I don't know, 3 chapters of them traveling in separate places and her just like stress cleaning and him worrying because she's not texting him back. And he's like constantly texting her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a bad.
Well, like from her end, there's a worry of like, now how are people going to see her? Like if she dates him, she's like the boss's girlfriend and it's a whole thing. And then from his end, he's worried about like pressuring her and like how like not harassing her if she's not into doing it again.
Yeah.
And like he's
not
texted her 3 times. If he texts her a 4th time, is he like a boss that's harassing one of his subordinates? And his friend like says that like, you've got to stop because this is not okay. She's clearly not into it and you need to stop immediately.
Right. And then, but also, I don't know. This bothered me a tiny bit because I feel like she didn't read any cues whatsoever at all. Because he's like being all warm in the morning. He wants to go to breakfast. He like makes sure that he sees her to kiss her goodbye and all this stuff. And her whole thing is like, I just can't be casual about this. And that's all Nate could ever possibly want from me. And I'm like, there's no indication that that's true. He calls himself like almost a monk for years. 5 years. He has not dated a single person.
Except for that time that he did smash with Alex in the hotel room only like 2 months ago.
Sure, but nobody knows about that. And like they had no chemistry and it wasn't a dating situation,
Right.
He wants to go down to breakfast in the hotel where all of his hockey players are. Like he wants to be in public with her immediately.
I get it. But like from her perspective, it's not just, it's one of 2 things, right? Either he just wants to hook up and that's a problem for her.
Sure.
Right? Or he wants to like be her boyfriend, which is also a problem for her.
Sure.
Both things are scary. So it's like sometimes she's talking about like, oh, I'm just little old me. He probably wants somebody like Alex or like
Lauren.
one of these more,
Justice
or Lauren or something. Well, I don't want the listener to think that she actually thinks he's going for Lauren because I don't think that's real.
No, but she's like, I'm nothing like.
But somebody like that,
right?
So like I think that comes from her own insecurities and not just like the way he's acting.
Agreed.
But like also even if even the times where she's like, okay, he's texting me a lot, like he clearly wants to pursue this, then it's like a whole different anxiety of like, now I'm dating the boss and now I have a job because I'm with my boss.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to look at me as the boss's girlfriend and I don't want that.
True.
I get it from both sides. Like she's stuck.
I do too, definitely. I don't know. I guess my thing is when they actually talk. So a few days go by and then he's looking for her. He goes to her apartment. She's not there, but her sister's like,
bing, boom, bong.
Yeah, please.
He's looking for her and he says to Bingley, like that he's looking for her. And then Bingley says, shall I locate her current whereabouts? Yeah. And then Nate in his brain says, every employee has a tracking device, so Bingley could find Rebecca easily.
Yeah.
What kind of company are you running, bro? Where all your employees have a tracking device? That's just casually dropped and then it just moves on.
So it's not it's not like a tracking device. It's that
It literally says.
Well, but I think what they mean is they have company cell phones, and those company cell phones have geolocation. They just do.
But that he can track?
But like, yeah, I think that there should be some sort of privacy clause in which the CEO
I don't like that at all.
Can't just like look and see where you are.
Yeah, I don't
I
like
hear you.
that the boss can find me by my cell phone. Ew.
Yeah, and so he's like, no, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. So then he decides to just like go by his office after that. And she's there in his private hockey office, like feather dustering everything. Like Lumiere's girlfriend. Like very, very feather duster.
Well, she is a feather duster.
Fair.
That's different.
Fair.
Lumiere's girlfriend was born a feather duster. So like... when she feather dusts, it's like a different mood. That's just like her normal because that is how
that's just
she
like
was
the
born
way
that
she
way.
navigates the world.
That's just
Erin.
like she walks across the floor, she is feather dusting because she is a feather duster.
I don't know why I kept laughing. That's really funny though.
Please don't mix up identity and hobbies.
It's just
like,
how she's made.
It is how she is made. Okay.
She was born that way, Erin.
And I swear to God, if any of you listener tweet at me or email me
about how
she
it was an enchantment,
how she was not born a feather duster and it was an
listener.
enchantment, I swear to God, this is not the podcast for you.
That's right.
All right?
Go away.
This is not a smart bitch podcast. This is a dumb bitch podcast.
We
all right?
know that it was an enchantment. It's just hilarious
was born that way
that she was born
for
that
jokes.
way.
That's jokes. That's what jokes is.
Those are humors. Not the 14th century kind of humors.
All right. So she's doing a dust.
I'm so sorry. Oh no. I shouldn't be laughing so hard at my stupid medieval history medical joke.
At Melody about what humors are.
Don't you talk to me about how
dare
you
you.
shouldn't
No.
bleed out a humor. I know.
If it was the 15th century, not the 14th century, I swear to God, I will punch you in your smart bitch face.
Regardless, that joke slaps. I think that's how that word is used. Oh, shit. Okay,
we got to wrap this up.
We do.
So she feather dusts in his office, and then he does come into that office.
He insists they have a chat, and she's like, okay, well, I just need you to know that it can't happen again, and I just can't, I can't believe I'm that girl, like, I'm the woman who sleeps with her boss, and I can't be casual about this, and all this kind of stuff, and he's sitting there being like, okay, I'm not casual about it. Like, this wasn't a work scenario, you know, like there were no benefits from it. We weren't like technically at a work function, all the things, but he's not saying any of that because she has put up her stance and he's like, I can't tell her what my opinion is on it because I'm not.
Like he's not going to argue his side because he doesn't want to harass her.
Exactly.
Like, he doesn't want to push her.
Exactly. And so I liked this. This was one of those moments where I was like, it makes sense that he's not using his words because he should not in this situation. She said she doesn't want to see him romantically anymore, and he cannot say anything else. That's the correct thing to do. Then she runs out of the office, and that's that. He says, my door is always open to you.
Yeah, it's rough.
And then it's over. And I think that's where we're going to break for today.
What?
No?
Really? We've got a whole half. Oh, we do have a whole half of a book. I really thought we were wrapping this up, and this was like the end of the book.
No.
And then I just looked down, and it's like 50%.
This is the hard middle of the book. Firm middle.
All right.
So this is a surprise two-parter. Are you surprised, listener? Probably not.
I am surprised.
I mean, I am too. Yeah.
Yeah. This is supposed to be Snippy Snappy book. But we did laugh for 45 minutes about Feather Dusters.
I'm not sorry about it.
We did get really, really awkward about intent versus
we
impact
did.
for a little bit.
That happened for a little while. I just think that's an important thing to, put out there. All right, Erin, do you have a lady love? You need 2 for today. Ha, 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 ha.
Wait, are we doing the next part now?
This is podcast business. We'll talk about it later. What's your lady love?
Okay. Why don't you go first with your lady love?
Fabulous.
I'll let you go first.
Fabulous. Mine is a simple, but boy, does it make my heart sing. And that is homemade tahini dressing.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, boy, a homemade tahini dressing is so good.
Mm-hmm.
There's one Middle Eastern place in town that does a perfect tahini dressing, and they always send this teeny tiny side of it with your order. And it's wonderful. And if I could just ask them for a gallon of just their tahini dressing, that would be great. But I've never found another one that's just perfect. And so I've been making it myself lately, and God, it just hits the spot every single time. And there's something about that sesame and that lemon and that garlic, and oof, it's just so good. So homemade tahini dressing is my lady love.
You know what I love is a store-bought falafel.
Oh!
You don't have to know. Wouldn't it be funny, though?
That'd be really funny.
Well, I will say this. So we were talking about peppering in some non-Cloy Patreon content.
Yeah.
And I had been talking about our friend, world-famous romance author, Sarah Whitney.
Yeah.
I had been talking to her about doing an X-Files Patreon for some time now. It just takes a lot of prep.
Yeah.
And then today, after I watched Cloy for today, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start preparing for the X-Files romance episode. And I watched 2 X-Fileses. And, there are certain... Listen, if you... Listen, hey... Hi, I know I already have your attention. I don't know why I'm stalling. All the TV shows in the world.
All of them.
They all have kind of a rhythm, a cadence.
Sure.
The familiar sounds of a New Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Or, of an Office.
Yes.
Or of a Dateline. Or of a...
Mm-hmm. They create an atmosphere, if you will.
Yes. And sometimes just that cadence of a show can really calm down your stress.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit of that Mark Snow music and just a smidgen of Mulder, It's Me. Really just calmed me out today. And I feel even if your show is not a fun subject matter, one of those shows that's deep in your brain and the cadences.
Totally.
Might help calm you down, just putting it out there.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find us on all the places. Come follow us. We're very fun. Instagram is @heavingbosoms.
It's hard, isn't it?
Twitter is @heaving_bosoms. We're on the Facebook. We have a page and a group. The group is the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. You can find all of those things via our super fabulous website, heavingbosoms.com.
Website. You will find so much there.
And
the merch is there.
God.
The Heaving Bosoms Reading Embrace, the Patreon, which has hundreds of episodes of bonus content at this point. I'm sure that's a true statement, right? Hundreds, is that correct?
Over 100. Yeah, over 100.
100, yeah. So much bonuses.
Yeah.
And so many things that you can find.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
So
great stuff. I didn't mean to correct your great with a good. It's just I said good really at the same time. You said great.
Downgraded that for
I wasn't trying to. Amazing stuff, actually. More.
So go check that out. Oh, and the Reading Embrace is there too.
Yes.
So keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love just being what you're born as.
Just being able to dance and feather dust at the same time, because that's what your feet are.
We can sing,
we
can dance. Look, my floor is so clean. Dun, dun, dun,
Boastful.
dun, 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 dun.
All right.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.